What's good everybody? So today I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to make your stream look better. So let's go. Lately, a lot of people have been asking me, why does your stream look so good? Why does it look so sharp? What settings are you using? And so on. So in this video, I'm gonna answer all of that. What settings I'm using, what filters I'm using, and some additional tips to help you make your stream look better. By the way, if you want to see me stream, I stream every Monday to Saturday on Facebook, fb.gg/nevzgaming. I usually stream Warzone, but occasionally I play other games as well. So if you happen to drop by my stream, please say hi and drop a follow. I would really appreciate it. So let's start out with my settings. I'm using the NVEC encoder, so it uses my GPU instead of my processor. Use N4 streaming service encoder settings. I use the CBR rate control, and I use a 6000 bitrate, since Facebook only limits your bitrate to a maximum of 6000. This, however, depends on what streaming platform you use. For Twitch and YouTube, it may be different. So you can look up what's the maximum bitrate for each of those platforms. And to be honest, bitrate is one of the most important settings here to make your stream look better. Because the higher of a bitrate you have, the more information you are uploading to your streaming platform. Especially when you play like high movement games like Warzone or any FPS games or racing games. All that additional data getting sent to the server will make your stream look better. Even with a bitrate of 6000, sometimes your stream can look blocky or pixelized, in my experience, if you play high movement games or any shooter games. So you want to keep this at a maximum, but that also depends on your upload speed. So in my case, 6000 equals to 6 Mbps. Since I have a 30 Mbps plan, that should be enough. And I also have enough of a buffer in case other people here are using the Wi-Fi and trying to upload stuff. So there should be no problem with this 6000 bitrate. However, if you happen to have dropped frames, or your internet speed cannot keep up with this bitrate, I'd suggest lowering this, although at a cost of quality. Let's move on. I use a keyframe interval 2, preset max quality, profile high, look ahead is checked, psychovisual tuning, and the max B frames are set at 2. So I'm not gonna go in depth on what all these settings are gonna do. These settings may differ depending on your PC specs, because not all PC specs can handle these settings, so you have to fine tune it for yourself. However, I'm gonna drop a link down below which explains all of these settings and what they do one by one. Next on, we want to go to the video tab. So here I'm using a 1080 base canvas solution and the output scaled at 1080. So if you're playing your games at 1080, you want to use this base canvas of 1080. And if you're streaming at 1080, you want to leave this output scaled resolution at 1080. However, if you're planning to stream only 720, you want to change this to 720 or whatever resolution you're trying to stream on. Then I'm using the Laxos downscale filter and the common FPS values of 60. So usually when you stream, you want to keep this at 60. Especially if you play high movement games, like any shooter games, racing games, or action games, in order to make your stream look smooth. But then again, this depends all on your PC setup. If you happen to experience skip frames, which is different from drop frames, because drop frames is about the internet speed. Skip frames means that your PC can't handle the encoder settings you've set. Whereas drop frames means that your internet cannot keep up with the bitrate you've set. So know the difference between skipped frames and drop frames, so you can pinpoint the problem you have if you happen to have any issues with your stream. So if you happen to have skip frames, the first thing I would do is lower your output resolution to 720. This means that you now would be streaming in 720 instead of 1080. However, if your PC still cannot keep up with 720, I would then suggest lowering your FPS to 30. If you're still having problems with 720 at 30 FPS, you might need to upgrade your rig or try to troubleshoot why your stream is still experiencing skip frames, which is what I'm gonna discuss in another video soon. So if you have any problem with skip frames in your stream, please let me know down in the comments below so I can address that in the next video. Whew, that was a very long tip one. I promise the other tips won't take so long. So let's move on to tip number 2. So tip number 2, which is honestly the secret to why my stream looks so good or better than the others, is because I added a filter to my game capture. So now I'm gonna show you real quick how my game looks without a filter and with the filter on the game capture. So I just loaded up my Warzone game. Now when I turn off my filter, the game would look like this. So you can see the difference between having a filter and not having a filter. With filter, without filter. So you can see that it looks very flat without the filter. With the filter, I added some contrast and some saturation in. So now I'm going to show you my filter settings right here. So I added some gamma, some contrast, I left the brightness at 0, and I upped the saturation by 0.41. And I also added a sharpen filter by 0.14. The cool thing with this, I know that a lot of people are using NVIDIA filters. In order to make enemies more visible, they try to up the shadows so the blacks aren't as black as they were, so they can see better in dark spots. What this does, however, it decreases the quality of the stream since the colors will look all washed out and it will have less contrast. However, if you add a filter just to your game capture, it won't affect what you are seeing on your screen. So this filter, it will be only added to your stream. Whatever you see on your monitor, whatever you change with your NVIDIA filter will stay the same. And I just got kicked out for inactivity. So again, just to show you real quick how this looks with and without a filter, here we go. With filter, without filter. With filter, without. So you see the huge difference a filter makes in your game. Now I'm going to show you how to add a filter to your stream. All you have to do is go to your game capture, right click, and you'll see the filter option. And here we go. So you have all these options: gamma, contrast, brightness, saturation, opacity. These settings are what works for me and for my game. So if I turn this on again, you'll see the changes right here. The reason why I did not add this to my display capture is because it will affect the whole display instead of just the game alone. So if you want to copy my color correction for the Warzone in particular, you can copy these settings. I've also added a sharpen filter of 0.14, but this really differs from game to game, so you have to play around with it for every game because there are other games which straight out of the game the colors already look good. But this is my secret on how my Warzone streams look so good. On top of that, you can also add a filter to your camera. Like if I go here to my camera and try to add a filter, add the color correction right here, I can play around with my camera colors here, as you see. But since everything looks already good, I'm not gonna touch that, to be honest. Okay, let's move on to tip number 3. Don't block the in-game overlay. So right now I'm here in my game. Now for every game there are different important game overlays like the map, like the gun you're using, your teammates, your HP bar, whatever. So in general, you don't want to block those. Why? Because me as a viewer, I want to see that information, like where are you on the map, what gun are you using, how much HP do you have left, who are you playing with, how many bullets do you have left, what items you have left. So in general, you don't want to block those in-game interfaces. Like for example, let me move my camera. If I moved my camera over here, if I move it to the bottom right, my viewers wouldn't know what gun I'm using or how much bullets I have or what items I have. For me as a viewer, that's really irritating because I might be watching to learn from that streamer, but he's blocking important information from the stream by putting his camera over that in-game overlay. Or let's say perhaps I'm gonna move my camera over the map. Now my viewers wouldn't know where I'm on the map. So if you're gonna put any overlays or cameras on your stream, guys, I'd suggest avoid putting those over the important game interfaces. Because I myself watch streams and sometimes I find it super irritating if I cannot tell what gun he's using, how much ammunition he has left. Put your overlays in a place where it doesn't block important game interface. So for example, let me show you how my stream looks with all my overlay and whatsoever. So right now you can see my stream. So I have my camera, I have my stats, I have my social media handles, and it doesn't block any of the in-game interfaces. So my viewers have all the info they need when they're watching. So I'd suggest you do the same, guys. Step number 4, camera angle. So if you're streaming with a camera, you want to have it at the best camera angle possible. So what's the best angle for your camera setup? I would avoid having your camera set up in a way where it would point from down below up to your face. Not only does it look unflattering most of the time, but if we apply basic photography, psychologically, the effect of a low angle shot makes the subject look strong and powerful, which sometimes means you could look intimidating to your viewer, which we most part want to avoid since we want to invite our viewers to watch our stream and talk to them and be friendly and whatsoever. So typically, you want to have your camera at your eye level or from above. So let me show you real quick what I mean by that. So right now I'm using my webcam to demonstrate this example. So sorry for the bad quality beforehand. So this is an example of a low angle shot. Like if I was playing right now, this would look very weird and might also be intimidating. The viewer is looking from down below up to you, which kind of can make the viewer psychologically feel intimidated because it makes me look strong and powerful. And also, these type of low angles mostly don't look flattering. Now, if I moved my camera up here to an eye level, perhaps, this would look already way better than having it from a low angle. Or move it a little bit more up, this would still be okay. But generally, I'd suggest eye level or a little bit above eye level. Whatever you think is better for your stream. So again, having your camera at a certain angle is a small detail, but it makes a huge impact. To add on that, I would also have the camera set up in a way where your face is facing your gameplay. For example, this was my game. You can see my face here. You generally want your face facing inwards of the screen rather than have it face outwards of the screen. So let me show you how it would look like if my face would be looking outwards of the screen. So right now we have my face facing outwards the screen, and this looks weird because my eyes are facing outwards the screen, not inwards to the screen. So you want to have your face facing towards the middle or to your gameplay, because if you have your face facing outward of the screen, you'll turn the attention from your viewers from your eyes outwards to the screen. So let me show you the same principles just applied to photography. So for example, I have this photo. If you look closely, you can see their eyes looking over here. They're looking towards their left. So we as a viewer are intrigued by what they are looking at. So our eyes go from their eyes to the left. So if we apply that same principle to our stream, we want to have our face facing our stream or our gameplay. Or another example, here. This is me in Kamigin, by the way. So as you can see, first we look at the subject, which is me. But since I am staring at this cross, it draws our attention to this cross. So basically, we want to guide our viewers' eyes where to look. So if we apply it to our stream, we want them to look at our gameplay, not outwards of the screen. However, I'd say for those who are using a front angle shot are exempted for those. You don't necessarily have to change your front angle shot to make it look inwards. But for those who are using their cameras in a way that their face is facing outwards of the screen, you might want to flip that and make your face inwards of the screen. Tip number 5. Remove distracting elements. Probably by now, we've already seen a streamer who has a super messy background, and when you look at his stream, instead of watching his face, you look at his background and go, you know what I mean. So if you're streaming with your camera on, you want to remove all distracting elements from your camera. Like let's say, if I moved a little bit here, you could see the electric fan, the balloon, or the mess behind me. So you want to avoid that. You want to have the attention of the viewer solely on yourself. So if you have a messy background, I'd suggest you clean up your background so as to not to draw the attention from your viewers from you to your background, but keep it on you. So clean up your background or angle it in a way so that your background would be seen. Because to be honest, if you're watching someone who has a messy background, it kinda degrades the quality of the stream. Or if you cannot clean your background up or remove distracting elements, I'd suggest using a green screen, so only your face would be seen. Tip number 6. Lighting. So if you've seen all the big streamers out and seen their rigs and their setups, you'll notice that they have one thing in common. They all have ring lights or any sort of light to make their face look better. This again is a super small detail, but it makes a huge impact on the quality of your stream. I've seen a lot of streams where the game itself looks very nice, but if you look at the camera of the person, it looks very faded or low quality. And this is mostly because they lack lighting. Not because their camera sucks. It's just because they lack lighting. Because to be honest, you can make look any camera good if you know how to angle it and how to use lighting. The same in photography. If you know how to use your equipment, you can make quality output. Now for example, if I turned off my ring light right here and only used the light source of my monitor, this would look really bad. Right now, I'm just using my monitor as my light source. Not only does this look unflattering, but every time you change the screen or are entering different environments in your game, it would change the lighting of your face. Let me show you that right now. See how the light moves on my face? So right now I'm using a GH4 hooked up to a Elgato cam link. But even though I'm using a GH4, if I don't have the right light source, the quality would still suck. So let's do the same example with the webcam, just to show you the difference. So right now I'm hooked up to my webcam and you can see the quality is really bad. But if I turn on my ring light, bang, instantly looks better. So let's try this again with some light in my room, how this would look with a ring light and without with some additional lighting. So here's my room with my light turned on. Looks okay, but we can make it look better. Let's try this again with my ring light on. Bam! Instantly looks better. So whatever camera you are using, guys, with the right lighting you can make it look professional already. And like with my earlier tip, you can also try to add a filter to your camera just to make it look better. But as in photography, lighting is key. So buy a ring light, or you can even use your cell phone as additional lighting to your face. In addition to that, you want to have your light behind your camera so that it won't create ugly shadows in your face. Tip number 7, and probably the most easy one to follow. Look clean. So as streamers, we're all trying to build up our brand, gain more viewers, gain more followers, and show the best of ourselves. So we should also look like that. Wash your face, clean up your hair. It's pretty basic, to be honest. Also, you want to wear something comfy, but not something that looks unprofessional, like a t-shirt that has stains on it or has holes in it. Because you're trying to build a brand here. You're trying to represent the best of yourself. So you should look like it as well. So that's it for 7 tips on how to make your stream look better. If you have any additional tips which you'd like to mention, please leave it down below in the comments. If you have any questions, please do so as well. And if you found this video helpful, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.